So we like challenging every South African. If you're not leaving and you're staying, you've got to roll up your sleeves. You've got to come to the point where you say, this is my home, this is my house, this is my town, this is my province, this is my country.
I'm not leaving this country for anything. Call me whatever, I'll work with you tomorrow.
I'm Petrus Groewe and representing MD Foundation, which is a farming company in Vicksburg on the border of Lesotho. And our story started more than 13 years ago. And it was started on the same basis when we asked the same questions that people are asking today. Why should we stay in South Africa? Is it worth it to continue? Farming is not easy in South Africa. There's a lot of pressure, as we know it. The whole farming industry is constantly under pressure. But also farming can be hazardous to your life, as one of our partners experience, people being killed on the farm and so on. So that was the situation that gave birth to our farming company. We started to ask, why are we supposed to be in South Africa? Why continue farming? And then we decided to start to pray together every morning to ask God's guidance on this issue. And after some weeks praying, we read Isaiah 58, where God says, He just dislikes this religious things going on. People are so religious, but it's for their own benefit. They're actually destroying each other and hate each other while saying that they are believers. And God says He hates it. And God reveals there in Isaiah 58 that what He wants is for people to share their bread with one another, for people to invite others into their homes, to break the bondage of slavery, and to spend yourself on the poor. We were really touched by that. And then we decided that if we were continue to farm, there must be a different purpose for that. Not just to try and survive financially, but to look after the poor and the needy, to reach out to the community, to create jobs, to help with education and healthcare and all those kind of things. So God really inspired us, not because we were so determined and so disciplined, just because He inspired us. We changed our vision of why we should stay and farm in South Africa. So that's where the vision started. Then, of course, the next challenge was, how do we put this thing together and start farming together for this purpose? And of course, we didn't have the answer because we are not so bright after all, even though we are trying to farm. And we started to pray again about this issue. And after some time, again, God revealed to us, we read Acts 2, where we read about the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. And there, God says that the people, after this outpouring of the Holy Spirit, they were so inspired that they brought all their property and they gave it to the apostles and they distributed between the people so that everybody was taken care of. And then God again did something miraculously and He inspired us to do the same. And we said, let's give everything we own. Property, land, implements, cattle, whatever we own, that we give it away to God, that we form a company with the sole purpose, and that will be to farm, to create jobs, to look after the community around us, to educate children, and to look after the sick and the destitute people. So we formed this company, MD Foundation. MD stands for Missio Dei, which means the mission of God. And it's still a very big privilege that we can even, associate us with that because we actually don't deserve that. But anyway, in this company, nobody owns anything. Everything belongs to God, and the whole purpose is that I just described. So then you can just imagine us, after doing this, we were so inspired, as I said, it's not that we tried our best to do it, it was just in our hearts to do it freely. And then we actually expected that this thing is going to take off now. We are on the verge of something very spectacular. God is going to bless us in every way of life. We could just see ourselves galloping, over the horizon with this warm feeling in our hearts. But actually, things didn't turn out that way. Because in the 13 years that we farmed together, we only had, I think, 3 normal years that we could harvest a normal crop. All of the rest, drought, too much rain, and it's not, that you always find people complaining about too much rain, but we had a lot of that. Theft of our cattle, diseases that killed a big percentage of our dairy cattle and so forth. So we struggled with a lot of things, even struggled with relationships to help this thing moving forward. But in the end, we had to realize that God revealed to us and said, listen, you are not in this for your own benefit, for your luxury, to enjoy this ride. You are in this so that you can show people that in the reality of South Africa, in this broken world, you are called for this duty. So that people can see that in this brokenness, there is hope. Not because we are so fancy, because we are definitely not. We know more about doing things wrong than doing things right. And so that was the reality that shocked us into this calling of applying hope even when you are hurting, when the people around you are hurting. But luckily, because of the grace of God, we were able to stick to our calling. That gave us purpose, that gave us enjoyment, even though we were suffering in other areas of our lives. And therefore we started with a hospice on one of the farms to look after the destitute and sick people. We started after that with a school because we committed ourselves to do that, even though we didn't have the money actually many times to do that, to supply quality education to the kids in our whole area. We started a clinic that we can supply basic health care. And after that, we looked into models that we can broaden our impact in this world in education, because we know it's a big crisis in South Africa. Many children are suffering because of not having access to good quality education. So we went into rural areas, trained people to serve as tutors to children in grade 3, to teach them math and English and to disciple them so that they can be worthy stewards in this country. And by God's grace, not because of our farm, but because other people got involved and other businesses got involved, we were able to expand this project into many places in this country today, helping children in different ways to progress in their education. So that's the story of MD Foundation.